Hello and welcome to the Motocross Network. In today's video, we have strictly MXGP stuff because there was a week off here in America in between Supercross and Pro Motocross. So all we had was MXGP this weekend in Saint-Jean-d'Angely, France. With that being said, we still have a lot of good stories. We're going to be looking at some penalties that completely changed the results, the podium for the MXGP class. Then we're going to take a look at a couple really bad crashes that happened as well, one of them resulting in a pretty bad injury. We'll give you an update on that rider as well. Now, before we get into that, let me tell you about my sponsor, Blood Lubricants. Blood is a premium off-road oil and lubricant company. They have everything from Blood Bath, Wash and Wax, to their newest product, Clutch RX Engine Oil. It's all really high-quality stuff. Now, don't just trust my word. Their products are Chris Kiefer tested and approved as well, so if he likes it, you know they got to make some quality stuff. If you need an oil change, head to bloodlubricants.com and use my code TMN25 for a limited time. You can save 25% off site-wide, everything from their oil to their chain lube to their blood bath, wash, and wax. You can get everything 25% off. All right, so originally the MXGP race finished with Romain Febvre, the hometown guy, on top, first place. Herlings was second overall, and Tim Gajser was third overall. Now, I can't remember the exact points and positions. I'm pretty sure it was Romain Febvre with 3-2 for first overall, Herlings 6-1 for second overall, and Gajser 1-6 for third overall. I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, Febvre would have won in front of his home crowd. Now, after the race, they announced that 2 riders were penalized for jumping on a yellow flag. It's not like America where you can jump on yellows. Over there, you cannot. Those riders, the said riders who jumped, were Team Ship to Cycle Honda rider Kevin Horgmo, who would have gotten a career best finish of 5th, and Factory Kawasaki's Jeremy Seewer, who would have been 4th in the second moto of the day. Now, as I said, they both got 2 position penalties, with both of them getting those penalties that moved Gajser's second moto finish up to 4th from 6th. That would make him first overall instead of third overall. So it definitely shifted the scores around, and then that moved Febvre to second and Herlings to third. It kind of shifted everything. Now, typically, somebody getting penalized for jumping on a yellow flag is a clear-cut violation in the MXGP rulebook. But in this scenario, Infront Moto Racing has gotten some extreme backlash online, both from fans and riders alike, one of them being Jeffrey Herlings. Now, why is there such a backlash, you may ask? Well, I'll show you the video of said incident of the riders jumping, and you tell me what the problem is. Here's that clip. Now, as you can see in that clip, the flagger was standing directly behind the CD advertising banner, sign, whatever you want to call it, and you could barely see the flag. And considering there was a giant mud puddle before the jump, I'm sure guys could barely see in the first place. Now, I'm not the only one that feels that way. It was almost impossible to see the flag. Even Herlings took to social media last night to rant about it. Here's what he had to say.
Almost impossible for Jeremy Seewer and Kevin Horgmo to see the flag marshal. He was like hidden behind the advertisement board. And just before the jump was a massive puddle of water. Instead of taking positions away of the riders, first teach the marshals well how to use the yellow flag so we can actually see them good when a rider crashed. For the safety of the crashed rider and the rider who is upcoming. Especially in this mud, we already barely see anything. And why did the other riders who also jumped not get deducted places as well? So unfair.
Now, I fully agree with him. I don't think they should have penalized them. I think they should have maybe given them a written warning or something and said that they will have a talk with the flaggers and make sure they're more visible in the future. But hey, here's a written warning. You know you can't jump on a yellow. But then the problem becomes if they don't penalize the riders this time, then they're setting a bad precedent for the future that the penalty for jumping on a yellow isn't a clear-cut rule and that it's on a case-by-case basis, which I understand how this can become a problem. They kind of have to follow it no matter what. And they did jump on the yellow. Yes, it was hard to see, but I don't know, man. Now, regarding the riders who didn't get penalized, I'm not quite sure why. Originally, I thought, oh, maybe they were just lappers that were way out of points-paying positions anyway, so it wouldn't do anything if they were penalized in the first place. But then I rewatched the footage from a couple of angles. I found a second clip, and the most visible jersey, as you could see from the one I showed you, was Mattia Guadagnini. And he was not penalized, and he finished 14th overall. He was clearly in points-paying position. I think he was in 16th or 17th. I'd have to go back and look. Either way, he was in a points-paying position, so my thought is out the window. Now, I don't really know why they didn't get penalized. I fully understand why riders would be ticked off that they only picked the top 2 guys to penalize. I'm kind of split on this decision. I don't know. If you penalize them, yes, you're keeping that precedent of you break the rule, you get the consequences, but it wasn't 100% their fault because the flagger wasn't in the way. If they don't penalize them, people are going to be mad and they're setting a bad precedent. I don't really know. Maybe it was the good decision to just penalize them and move on from it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this. It's a little more complicated than it should be, but yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, before we move on, I have a couple announcements to make regarding the Motocross Network magazine. We now have a digital magazine available, so for those of you who want one but don't want to spend the money, the full price of a paper copy and the shipping, which is getting expensive, you can just buy a digital one now for $3.99. It's pretty cool. The pages flip as you go through. It makes a little flipping noise. And on top of that, we have some new writers coming in, one of them being my buddy Johnny Hopper. I'm sure you know him. Great guy and very knowledgeable on the sport. We also have a couple more writers on top of that joining as well. You'll know who they are. So if you want a physical copy or a digital one, head to the mxnetwork.com. Links in the description. We have current issues. We have past issues. Even MXGP ones from last year. We got all that stuff on there, so head to my website. The link's in the description. Huge thanks to all you guys who already bought one. The support means the world to me. All right, let's now look at some crashes. It was just never-ending. The crashes at the MXGP of France were never-ending. I mean, seriously, I could do an entire video on just crashes from this race. It was nonstop, which is understandable with how muddy the track was for the weekend and the fact that Saint-Jean-d'Angely is a very hard-packed track, so hard-packed, hilly track, and mud, they do not mix well, and you could see that this weekend. Anyway, since we don't have time to look at all the crashes, I'm going to show you the 2 major ones that were pretty bad. The first one being in the MXGP class. This was a start crash involving Monster Energy Yamaha's Andrea Bonacorsi and JK Racing Yamaha's Isak Gifting. This was during the qualifying race on Sunday. Here's that crash. Firstly, that was a gnarly crash. Luckily, they both walked away fine. I was really worried about head or neck injuries, especially with Gifting. His head hit the ground so hard, and he kind of scorpioned himself. But, yeah, they were both fine and walked away safely. It was hard to tell. I tried rewatching it over and over again, and I couldn't tell who was at fault. It was hard to tell if it was Gifting moving left and hitting Bonacorsi's handlebars, or if Bonacorsi got pushed right a little bit by Koldenhoff, making him hit Gifting's handlebars. So I don't know which way it was. Either way, it was a pretty gnarly crash. Let me know what you guys think caused it. Was it Bonacorsi or Gifting's fault? Either way, their bars came together, and that was that. I'm happy to see both of them walk away healthy. That could have been a bad one. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. All right, let's now look at the second gnarly crash of the weekend. And this one, unfortunately, did end with an injury, and it could have been worse. But this time it was in the MX2 class. Another Yamaha rider, Monster Energy Yamaha's Thibaut Benistant, the hometown hero for this race. He crashed really bad in the downhill and it ended his weekend and most likely his season. Before we look at his injury update, let's first look at said crash. Here's that clip. Now, this was possibly the most violent crash I've seen all year. Unfortunately, nobody caught the first half of the crash at the top of the hill, like what caused it. Benistant did say he didn't see the red cross flag until it was too late, so maybe he hit the brakes going over the hilltop and cartwheeled. I don't really know. He'll explain that in a second. But yeah, nobody caught the first half of it. All you can see is him cartwheeling down the hill. It was pretty gnarly. Yamaha did release a press release on his injury, and that reads as follows. Benistant fell on a steep descent 2 laps into the time practice session and went over the handlebars. The 22-year-old Frenchman, who holds 4th position in MX2 standings, took a hard impact and was immediately taken to the on-site medical center, where he was initially cleared of any fractures or serious injury. However, upon closer assessment, a small fracture in his C5 vertebrae has been detected. Over the next few weeks, Benistant will work closely with a team of medical experts in Lyon, France, who will monitor his progress and adjust his treatment plan as needed. An update on his potential return to action will be shared in due course. Now, Benistant also took to social media himself to give an update. Here's what he had to say. He said, quote, "Hey everyone, as you know, my home GP didn't end up how I wanted. A big crash in timed practice because I see the medical flag in the last meter and jump it. The result could be much worse, but still hard to accept. I broke my C5, but doesn't need surgery. Thanks everyone who believed in me. Sorry. We'll be back stronger." So yeah, like he said, he came over the edge of the hillside, saw the medical flag late, saw the guy there late. I'm assuming he hit his brakes, causing him to cross rut, lose control, hit some bump, go over. Either way, he ended up over the handlebars. Sucks to see, but hey, it could have been way worse. Now, not only am I glad he's okay, for the most part, but I'm also happy to see him nor his bike went any further, because if they went like 5 feet further, they would have cleaned out the track marshals and the medical guys, so this could have been way worse. So I'm happy everyone walked away okay from that, and Benistant only sustained a small injury. This is kind of best case scenario for such a violent crash like that, but either way, it sucks to see. I feel like T-Ball has been on the rise recently. The past couple of years, he's been really good, but he started off rough this year and kind of gained some momentum the past few weeks. He had 2 podiums in a row. Then in Spain last week, he had a crash, a couple small mistakes that held him back. He was still just off the podium, and now coming into his home race in France, we were expecting him to bounce back and continue being a podium contending guy. Sucks to see his season get ripped away like this. I doubt he's going to return anytime soon, maybe late in the season, who knows. We're wishing T-Ball a speedy recovery and hope to see him lining up back on the gate again soon. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. What are your guys' thoughts on all of this? How do you feel about Seewer and Horgmo getting penalized? How about those bad crashes? When do you think T-Bolt will return? Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. Don't forget to go check out my sponsor, Blood Lubricants, and don't forget to head to my website and snag a magazine. We've got past issues and current issues on there, and the digital copies like I mentioned, so go there and snag one, and yeah, thanks for all that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.